In this video, we're going to be looking at solving proportions. So our essential question will be, how do I write and solve proportions? But before we can have a discussion about writing and solving proportions, we'll need to talk about the individual pieces that make up a proportion. The first piece is a ratio. And a ratio is a comparison of two quantities. Now that we have the definition of a ratio, we can write our definition of proportion. Proportion is two ratios set equal to one another. So the ratio you can think of as simply a fraction, and a proportion could be when we have two fractions that are equivalent. So let's look at the cross product property. And this is how we'll solve proportions using our cross product property. If A over B is equal to C over D, then if you remember our cross product property, we just find the cross product. A times D is equal to C times B. Okay, so let's look at some examples. The ratio of the number of bones in the human ears to the number of bones in the skull is 3 to 11. There are 22 bones in the skull. How many bones are in the ear? So we're going to set it up as, since it's ears, human ear bones, to skull, we'll put the ear to skull is equal to 3 to 11. And so we are told that there are 22 bones in the skull. So we can say that this ratio would be equal to, well, I know the exact number of bones in the skull. I'm trying to figure out how many bones are in the ear. So if I have an unknown, what should I use? We'll use a variable, or x, typically. Now, to solve this, we will cross multiply and then simplify. So I'll cross multiply and I get 11x is equal to 66. We'll divide both sides by 11 and x will equal 6. And so we know that we're talking about, when we use our units, and if we're talking about bones, we'll have to say that x equals 6 bones. Okay, let's look at number 2. The Ramsey Cascades Trail is about 1 1/8 inches long on a map with scale 3 inches equals 10 miles. What is the actual length of the trail? So let's go. We want to set up our ratio. So we know that for every 3 inches equals 10 miles. So we'll use inches, inches, inches to miles is equal to 3 to 10. That's our scale that's given to us. And then we're told that on the map itself, the Ramsey Cascade Trail measured 1 1/8 inches. So where are my inches going to go? In the numerator or the denominator? Well, we'll use our original ratio of words, and we know inches is in the numerator. So we'll put 1 1/8. And then, do I know how many miles the trail is? No, that's what I'm trying to figure out. That's my unknown. So we'll use our x. Now, we're ready to solve. But before I want to solve, this is where kind of one of those examples where I've been stressing, let's do all our math in improper fractions. And here we'll see that that's much more beneficial. So I will take 1 1/8 and turn it into an improper fraction. So this is really 9/8. Now we're ready to cross multiply. So I have 3x is equal to 10 times 9/8. So we'll simplify the 10 times 9/8. We have 10 over 1. I'll do some cross canceling, cross reducing. 10 becomes 5, 8 becomes 4. We have 3x is equal to 45 over 4. Now since I have a fraction on this side, instead of dividing by 3, let's multiply both sides by the 1/3. That's our reciprocal of 3. I'll multiply by 1/3. Those cancel and we get x equals, simplifying over here, 3 divided by 3 is 1, 45 divided by 3 is 15, and we get 15/4, or 3 3/4 miles. Okay, so now let's solve a proportion. Believe you can probably do number 3 on your own. I'm going to show you a trick for number 4, and then I'll have you do 3 and 5 on your own. So let's look at 4 together. Since we have like something a little more complicated in our denominator, what would be very beneficial to do is just put parentheses around everything in our numerator and denominators. So the first step, before I even start doing any math, is just write in some parentheses. Now we're ready to find our cross product. Because if I keep these parentheses when I write my cross product down, we'll see how this is going to unfold. So I'll have 2 times y minus 3 is equal to 6 times 7. Now I hope you're seeing the value in the parentheses right here. Because now it's not 2 times y, but it's 2 times the whole y minus 3. And what that tells me I'm going to need to do is distribute. So we'll have 2 times y and 2 times the minus 3. So we'll have 2y minus 6 equals 42. Now we're ready to solve using our Piom. We already dealt with the parentheses by distributing. Now we'll get rid of our minus 6 by adding 6 to both sides. So we have 2y is equal to 48. We'll divide both sides by 2, and y is equal to 24. So I can't stress enough that if you put these parentheses in, add these parentheses in, it'll definitely decrease your chance of making that mistake where we don't distribute. Because we need to distribute when we multiply these two parts together. So go ahead and try number 3 and 5. And pause right here. Okay, so hopefully you took the chance or the opportunity to try number 3 and 5. Let's look at them together. We're going to cross multiply on number 3. 3 times m would be 3m is equal to 9 times 5 is 45. Now we'll divide both sides by 3, and m equals 15. That one's pretty straightforward, easier than 4 and 5, so hopefully that one makes sense. Now number 5, remember, we want to put in our parentheses. If we add in our parentheses, we'll decrease our chance for mistakes. So let's add in our parentheses, and we'll cross product with our variable first. So I have 1 times x plus 10 is equal to 8 times 12. We'll distribute the 1 in using our PEOM. So 1 times x is x, 1 times 10 will be our plus 10, is equal to, and 8 times 12 is 96. So we have one more step and then we're done. We'll subtract 10 from both sides, and we'll get x is equal to 86. And that's how we can use ratios and proportions in the cross product to help us solve these type of equations. Thank you very much.